Welcome to the Frequently Asked Questions
Yes.
podcast, Fuzzy and Quincy. All right, listen, subscribe any and everywhere you listen to podcasts. FAQ Podcast on YouTube, FAQ Podcast on Instagram and all socials. Fuzz.
Legendary, man.
Buzz. Do you know what's about to happen, bro?
I mean, listen, I'm in Philly,
Yeah.
and you've been, taking me around, to a bunch of spots, but it was highly recommended that we sit down with this brother.
Yo, man, we have the overlord of fresh. We have E.S.T from 3 Times Dope, legendary,
Fire.
right here. Thank you for stopping by, bro.
Of course.
Yeah, what's up with you, man?
Man, we chilling on this good this good day today, man.
Yeah, I mean, we have so much to talk to you about, man. First of all, it's a real honor.
Hell yeah. I grew up listening to this, man.
Yeah, like I was telling, we were talking to you yesterday. Shout out to our guy J1s.
Shout out to J1s, yes sir.
And we was talking to J1s. It's like, yo, man, we just running down, just doing a couple things. He's like, yo, have you talked to ES? I'm like, dog, is he around? He like, hold up, and he gets you on a FaceTime, and we get to talk to you, man, and now you're here today, man. We really appreciate it, bro.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So where do we start with EST, man? It's so much to talk about.
Let's start from the beginning. Like,
Yeah.
Philly. Like, let's talk about it. Like,
Why not?
I'm just saying. I just knew if I'm a kid from Compton, and it was funny. My cousin Mark. We used to, if he had a CD, it wasn't no need for me to buy that artist. So he had 3 Times Dope. I used to always borrow the CD. You know what I'm saying? So I remember the artwork and everything. But I was just in high school, whatever.
Yeah.
And you know what's so crazy though is that I want to take a moment to, and I've done it plenty of times before, but like it was a IG the other day. My man sent me, my man Lil Bob on IG. What's up, Bob? And it was Snoop, and he, sometimes Snoop might just take a little couple minutes of him grooving, doing whatever he's doing.
Yeah.
And he grooving and doing his thing to the Dividends record.
Wow.
Yeah, of course.
In the fresh Bentayga, super clean. Having him a smoke break, but just relaxing. But Snoop knows too that at this point, he's an icon many times over in many different fields. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And him just doing that is really just him rocking who he want to rock to at that time, and him just taking a Snoopadelic moment. But the fact that he had my record playing in the back, just had my phone ringing and so many people calling me, you know what I mean? And it was just indicative, they tripping about it because it's Snoop, but I'm looking at it more as Snoop is a real resident of LA and the California, and it's like, it's one of the places that we always got super genuine love from. And if at times it would mess me up because it would be dudes that's like really looking like they got a problem for you or something, but they come up to you, and LA dudes is funny because they'd get right in front of you and then be like, yo, man, what's up, cuz?
Yeah, that's us.
Yo, I rock with your shit. Yo, it's hard.
Yeah,
blah, blah, blah.
we grew up on
me
that.
so much love, and that's what they're telling me. Like, man, listen, man, I used to be in a low rider with my little cousin. He
100%.
Rockin', cuz, tell him. And it'd just be straight testimony, and there was just so much genuine love and appreciation for what we was doing that, like, when they sent me that IG with Snoop, I was just like, man, it's just more love. It's just all love. I didn't look at it like, oh, Snoop, and he in the position. It was just all love. And fortunately, Snoop is the man of stature that he is, and it just was a boomerang further solidifying that, we real ones.
But we grew up on the music, so Dog plays a lot. And I'm not speaking for you, Snoop, but Snoop's my man.
Sure.
Dog plays a lot of old school stuff. It's like as if we were back in high school or back when he was growing up with his parents playing stuff. So that's where he was probably just on that. Like he gifted Warren G a car.
The lowrider.
Right. Was you talking about that clip?
I seen it.
Right.
Beautiful.
And he started playing like old school, like he's like, yo, that's what we used to bump when we were in high school. Like that's what they were on.
Cause see, what it is like most people, they go off what they known to call a certain thing as a colloquialism and everything, and we all know what we say when we say old school, but really it's true school because if it's true then, it's true then, and it's true now. And it's even more true when you knew what to do with the old school. You know what I mean? So, my thing is true school. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like that.
And when you understand the moment, and a classic is something that forever live. You know what I mean? Stevie Wonder still get checks for stuff that he did when he was 19 and 18 and 21. You know what I mean? Certain people, that's their number one record they got to play when the family get together. You know what I mean? Because it was good then, and it's even better now because it done went through all the different evolutions of life, all the different segments of life, and it's still what it is.
Yeah.
So it's true.
I'm a
True school for real.
Yeah.
No. You can borrow that, loved one, for real.
I like
you know
that.
what I mean? True school. You know what I mean? So the way Snoop live his life, he keep what's dear to him fresh and new in his life, and that's why he always stay on the same even keel, and he can give you what you pay to get from him.
That's dope.
You know what I mean? Because it's natural. Now, cats that's going to abandon something that they was rocking with last year for the next 5-minute thing that just came out. You supposed to add that to your resume.
Yeah.
You supposed to have a repertoire, but when you ain't of it, you just love it, man. When you not of the things that you try to profess, you just love what everybody else dress like and do, how they smoke, how they ride, because you ain't really got the tenements of the thing within you. So you not of it, you just love it.
Wow.
That's big, man.
Listen,
you
no.
some gems right now, my G.
E.S.T, man. Like I was telling you, you know, every morning I wake my kids up. My 2 sons, they bunk bed and they got Alexa in their room. And, you know, every day I put some new music on because they like this YouTuber Kyle Exum, right? So I always try to, you know, give them some true school, right? So this is probably like 2 weeks ago. I was like, Alexa, play 3 Times Dope. And it wasn't like the singles. They were going like, you hit Alexa, they never go to like
The obvious, John.
the obvious. They were going to like some deep 3 Times Dope. And some of the stuff that you were rapping about back then and just the flow, it's like you were way ahead of your time, bro. Like my son, like my oldest son was like, who's this? I'm like, it's 3 Times Dope. Like, you know what I mean? Like you were so ahead of your time. Like I want to start there, man. Like how'd you start? Like you didn't. And the one thing I loved about music when you guys were coming up, everyone had their own style. It wasn't like, oh, that's working for you. You know, I'm going to do this like you did this. Like, so tell us how you started, man. Like, you know, Fuzz is from outside of the city, you know.
I just knew about,
You know what? It really just came initially really from, you know, my household and the way I was raised. Like my mom was always, you know, she was an intelligent lady, you know, and so the things that we was exposed to coming up after you come home from so-called school and, you know, the stuff that you always around in the house.
I ain't missed that so-called school.
You know, we had dictionaries and different things. You know, my mom spoke in a certain way, and there's certain things that, you know, made us perceive things, you know, maybe in a heightened sense for my age limit or my age group. So when certain songs start coming out, and, you know, I might have been a little young guy at the time, but certain things coming out, you know, and dudes are speaking eloquently, they spitting, but they really using certain words and phrases. And, you know, I'm catching what Rakim talking about. I'm catching what KRS-One talking about. I'm catching the slickness and the playfulness that's kind of premeditated in what Biz Markie doing. You know what I mean? And I'm starting to get a perception for, like, you know, what it would mean for me to interpret them same things, because I was coming from a poetry-based background and just a love for good music overall. You know what I mean? And like even before them, you know, of course we had, you know, all the hip hop movies, the break-ins and the B-Streets. You know, we had hip hop before we knew what we was listening to. You know, I come to find out later, oh, that was the Sugar Hill Gang. That was this guy. That was that guy. Oh, that was the Mike Stroh. Oh, that's Spoonie G. And, you know, but it's certain significant and signature things about the music and about anything that you'll pick up on if you enlighten to it or you got the mind frame to catch on to it. And so I start catching on to these things and was like, dang, all of this stuff is getting generated out of somebody's thoughts and the way they put it down and the way they perform it. And it's like you could really build a history and a legacy on that alone. And, you know, so it was intriguing to me and interesting. And my thing was, well, can I put my thoughts to a melody? Can I put my thoughts to a rhythm like this record I like or like this artist I like? And it started from there. And it was a infectious curiosity that led me to actually being able to put it together. You know what I mean? And then ran into certain people in my life that was festering it, like, you know, Brucey B and, you know, certain other DJs, my man Cool Cal, and, you know, different people like that, you know, Disco Rat, you know, when he used to come around our neighborhood with the stacks and play Cerrone and different things, you know, and it was like culturally like having an effect on me, like this is something that I could relate to and be a part of. And then, you know, I actually met Chuck Nice and Wood at a party that I used to deal with this young lady named Renee, and I was cool with our whole family. Me and her brother Putt was cool. Everybody was solid. But they DJ'd a party there that night, and I think I had a couple rhymes in my head or a couple things, and they had some MCs, but I don't think that they was all the way on that night. And Chuck Nice, was cool enough to let me get on. They liked what I did, and then we started forming a relationship. He was like, yo, can we get your number? Can we wah? Because at that time, they was this close to getting something going with Lawrence Goodman and what he was doing with Pop Art and Hilltop, but they didn't have the right MCs that he wanted to make it a total ensemble.
Right. Yeah.
So when they start dealing with me and did a couple demos with me and brought me around and said, well, yo, check this out. He was like, now you got it. And we started forming from there and slowly putting together what would be the seeds of like stuff that y'all say that y'all grew up on now. You know what I mean? Stuff that wound up being the beginnings of the original style and album. And, different stuff like that, the crushing and busting stuff, the Once More You Hit It Dope stuff where we had the battle with Lady B, when Lady B had the battle on Power 99, and we went up against Crown Rulers. Shout out to them because they had another crazy record called Kick the Ball that a lot of people know of regionally.
Yeah.
It's legendary, but anytime somebody hears that record, they got to respect it because the production for that time and still beyond to this time is laser sharp. And my man was just, getting his off, you know what I mean? And we was able to win against them, which I thought was very significant because Crown Rulers wasn't nothing to play with at that time. And we was able to win that battle and move forward, and that's what really gave 3 Times Dope the sparks in the city, because we had to make our bones and, just started moving from there. But it was the appreciation for being able to say something that to this day people would talk about, like how Q said that he came and put his kids on it, and he was confident that they would catch on and catch something from it. And so when his son said, well, who is that? That made him say, like, yeah, this 3 Times Dope. Like, that's what we did it for, to, like, kind of separate ourselves.
True school.
Yeah, true school, man.
Yeah, I mean, like, dude, so at the time I had to be, what year would you say you guys, really got your out of the region success? Like, you start getting it, like, bubbling. What year was that?
I would say maybe between 88 and 89.
So
I would say that's high school for me.
So bro, like I'm 9-10 years old, but I'm digesting this music, right? And then I'm listening to Power 99. I'm hearing y'all on the Countdown, right? With I'm with Stanley T. Like, it's crazy, right? And then to find out you guys are from like 10 minutes, 15 minutes from where I'm from, I'm like, oh my goodness. Then you go to Rap City.
You see the video.
You seeing the videos, bro?
Yeah.
It was like, no, these like
that's how NWA was for me.
Yeah, it was something that was like I was like, I don't know if I can rap, but I got to do something with this, like in this
exciting.
world. Yeah, it was super, super exciting, man. Like, tell us about that time, because at that time you had, I mean, it was Will Smith, it was Steady B, and I know y'all had y'all, riff. Like, it was so much stuff going on. Like, paint the picture.
That time,
for people,
right?
yeah.
So you guys signed to, was it Atlantic?
We were signed to Arista Records.
Arista
Records through a deal with Hilltop Hustlers Records, which was Lawrence Goodman's
Shout out Lawrence Goodman,
legend,
independent label.
Yeah,
he's somebody from the city. Him
from Philly,
and him and his brother Dana Goodman. They had access to a lot of the initial classics artists from New York. They at one point in time they had dealings with Roxanne Shante. They had dealings with Marley Marl.
Wow.
The great producer Marley Marl. They had Biz Markie, MC Shan, and maybe a few other people that may be escaping me at that time. But they was locked in with a lot of people. And then they also had Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince via Dana Goodman's interaction with them. And, you got to give them a shout out. Just that light while we're talking, because they are the first rap group to get a Grammy. From hip hop music,
for sure,
and they were from Philadelphia, from the West Philadelphia section of Philadelphia. You know what I mean? But Lawrence Goodman and Dana Goodman had access to those guys. You know what I mean? In the beginning, they ain't always do the right thing by them, but they had some parts to play in the original seeds that was sown and getting them into the game, and the initial records and whatever we heard from them.
Yeah.
So it was a big deal to be with that team.
Like,
at
dude,
that time.
it was Rockefeller before Rockefeller. It was
Yeah,
QC, but yeah.
you know, they moving with Fly Tie, and you know that's Cold Chillin' Records, and you know at that time, you know, those were some of the people to be with. Those were some of the people that was able to get those records played on the radio, New York radio, Philly radio, down south radio, you know, DMV radio. You know what I mean? And you know, just really keep it popping. But to make a long story short, that was for me what I call the golden era of entertainment, because people were, I feel like, more genuine. People were definitely trying to get their paper. People were definitely talented, but it was like it was more for authenticism or authenticity that, you know, people had. Like even down to the females. Like, you chilling with a female after the show, or you know, you get to meet a girl that like you. You might wind up over their crib, they mom fixing food for you. You done met their whole family, you know, and all that, you know. And they be like, all right, now y'all go ahead and do your thing. You know what I'm saying? And say you ain't bring the gold pack that day, you ain't bring the raincoat. You might have still been able to slip and slide, and next week you ain't, you know what I mean, everything's cool. You ain't got no irregularities and all that, which is a far cry and shoot from what's going on today. And Shorty might not have been trying to hit you with that, oh, I got the baby and all that, because it was just like, they rock with you. You know what I mean? It was love. You know what I mean? It was like, it was more different genuine, you know, vibes between people. You know what I mean? It was just some of the greatest times. You know what I mean? Of course, you had your suckers, you had your haters and all that, but you know, more than not, if you met somebody and y'all was cool, the next time you came through that city, that person was there for you. Y'all was locked in, y'all was rocking. You know what I mean? And
how old were you during this time? Like, how young?
Well, I started like 16. That was one of the main things that allowed me to get out the contract and thus get the whole group out of the contract with Lawrence, once we found out that he was trying to double and triple dip into the way he was dealing with us and moving. You know, he was trying to play record company and manager at the same time, and also, you know, older spiritual advisor, because you know I was a young Muslim at that time. We trying to move around and do things. Chuck and Wood wasn't, but that self-awareness, that black pride, that was permeating the whole hip-hop environment at that time. So we had a bit of that in us too, as an overall group. And you know, the fact that I was 16 when we first entered into the first contractual agreements with him, and you know, I should have been older than that, or you know, it should have been a different way we should have did that, allowed me to slip out. But I started when I was like 16. We started popping at like somewhere between 17 and 18, and by the time we was moving for real, I was like maybe freshly 18. Wow. You know what I mean? 18, 19.
Teenagers popping.
You know what I mean? 20s, you know, like that. Yeah, you know, because like I said, we were moving different on the mental. Like we had a different, you know, mental capacity and things that we held, close to us, things that was, you know, priority with us. And it was about getting that music off, you know, meeting these different people, going around the world and being part of this creative community and seeing where that was going to lead us. You know what I mean? And really wanting to say something along the way, you know, and be remembered for significantly being in the game, not just another crew that was on tour. We was around, okay, we bought a car, we bought a chain, this and that, you know, people knew of us. Like, we wanted to be something indelible. So when this thing got to be where it is now, you know, we were still there to be talked about when the real significance of it got talked about.
I mean, you think about this for us, right? At 17, 18, I know where I was. I mentally, you know, just thought I knew everything. Didn't have the, you know, fame or money that, you know, you had. So how did you handle that? Did you lose your mind? Did you go crazy?
At times, it got a little goofy, but most of the times, like, I was more of an introvert. So the main time I would really go wild or, like, let all loose was on the stage. After that, like, I was kind of, like, always trying to see how people was reacting to what was going on and our so-called celebrity and, you know, what that really meant. Because I knew to get caught up in it would be a bad dream, you know, because you never know when it's over. You know what I mean? When you that far into it, you can't accept reality as it is. Like, if it's something going on with you, you're not doing your best anymore or whatever. You can't tell because you're so used to, you know, feeding off of, you know, you this, you that. You know, I did this, I did that. You ain't never been over here. You don't drive this kind of car.
Yeah.
But none of that means nothing if you don't remain the same person that was able to bring yourself from nothing to something.
Yeah.
Because it was what you had was special that allowed you to become from unknown to well known. So after people know you, they start to know your BS too, and your goofiness and your suckiness. So if you keep that to a minimum, then you can stay the person that they really wanted to patronize and really wanted to see well off.
Right.
And that's why the phrase goes, you really don't want to meet your heroes. Because a lot of times people get let down by people that they put on a pedestal. You know what I mean? For whatever it is. Oh, I just love the way they carry themselves. I love the way he box. I love the way, they do interviews. But a lot of these people don't hold themselves to a certain character, out of respect for the level in life people putting you at. If people is putting you in a certain light in life that you allow to do different things and see different things that you wouldn't have if these people wouldn't have recognized you and supported you, at least when you around those people, tighten up, man. Have a little bit of respect and, admiration for what they're allowing you to do and what they're doing for you along with your talent. Because if don't nobody recognize it and support it, your talent is nothing. Yeah. Your skill is nothing. Your restaurant is nothing if nobody's coming in there wanting to buy from you. And part of that is your job too, to be endearing and to be welcoming, and the fact that you understand what the exchange is. You know what I mean? Y'all are supporting me. I'm appreciating that, and I'm showing love back, and we're going to keep it on a certain level of professionality. You know what I mean? So y'all can continue to support me, and I can continue to reciprocate and support y'all by giving y'all quality service for whatever y'all patronize me for. And that's a real relationship that when people lose the tenderness of what that is, it's called the fall off. Because people feel disrespected and they feel slighted because they're spending their heart on or taking their energy that they could give to everybody else in the world, and they giving it to you in some kind of way. You think that they here to just get at you. They was put here to just, big you up and herald you up. You got to respect the fact that the universe is shining on you. You know what I mean? Via these people recognizing you. And you got to learn how to deal with that. You know what I mean? That's the true definition of a star. You can have talent. You can have the right connections. You can even be a take charge kind of person, a great performer. But if you can't round it off with that, you're never going to be a real star.
That's powerful right there, man. Look, E.S., did y'all did Arsenio? Did y'all?
Yeah.
Let me tell you something, Fuzz. I knew it. Fuzz, let me tell you something, bro. I loved Arsenio Hall. You know this. I found out they were going to be on Arsenio Hall. Bro, my parents wouldn't let me stay up. And I snuck. I faked to go to sleep, and I snuck and watched them on Arsenio Hall. And that was so huge because...
How did you sneak?
Because they went to sleep.
Oh, so you...
They went to sleep.
So you got up and watched TV?
Yeah, and I knew, because, they show the commercials. Oh, this is going to be on tonight. And I was like, yo, 3 times. I'm like, can I stay up? They're like, no, you can't stay up. And I stayed up to watch it. Like, bro, at that time, like, just talk about, like, that moment, that was our Johnny Carson. That was our...
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Like, we had a couple opportunities to be on some really great shows. American Bandstand, Soul Train, MTV, MTV with Fat Five Freddy, different things. But Arsenio was a different plateau because you knew that it was touching everybody. During that time period, it was a world syndicated show.
Big deal.
You know what I mean? It was a big deal, and Arsenio was the king of our kind of slickness, our kind of late night satire, and a host, and just to be on that show, whether he gave you the couch or not, it was monumental. You know what I mean? So that was one of the moments where it was like, yeah, we doing Arsenio today. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And it was just so crazy because like that was one of the moments where you knew you had arrived. Because that show was just so significant, man. And then the love that we got, from people that, was our peers and, you know, people that knew us on the block and family members, and then the look from the haters was just priceless because it was like, yeah, well, what you gonna say now? You know what I mean? What can you say now? Like, your mom was up watching me, my man. You know what I mean? Like, you know, your girl was up watching me. You know what I mean? Like, hey, everybody in your hood saw that. You know what I mean? But you still hating. You know what I mean?
Hating.
It hurt, don't it? You know what I mean? Because you can't stop it now.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, pivotal performances and opportunities like that in life be you know, that rocket fuel in you know, in entertainers or groups, you know, backpack, man, you know, and that was definitely rocket fuel at that point. It was one of the best feelings, and it was just like one of those things, like when you wake up the next morning, you brushing your teeth and all that, you know, going through your ritual, you look in the mirror and you're like, yeah, killed
Did that.
Arsenio,
We did
man.
that.
Like, we did that.
Yeah.
You know, it was just like a testament to the hard work, man, you know, and you know, it also just make you think like that. This came from a basement in North Philly on Jerome Street in my man Chuck Knight's basement. You know what I mean? You know, from that to us hustling. You know, let me back it up.
Yeah.
It came from a house party, a basement house party, to us rocking in Chuck basement and formulating, to us signing and getting a shot through Lawrence Goodman and Hilltop Hustlers Records, to us rocking continual shows and doing what I call the chitlin circuit of shows, the YMCAs, the little Birmingham shows, the little Coatesville shows, the this and that. And then when you get to a point like that, it almost bring an Indian tear to your eye, man, if you really think about it. You know what I mean? Because that's when you know that you can achieve things and you can move forward in anything once you really applying yourself and, you know, you recognize the talent that's within you. You know what I mean? Because we all have something in us that'll take us anywhere we want to go. But the sad reality is some of us is so overloaded with extra things, or the wrong person around us, or just they had kids, too many kids too early, and now it's a responsibility thing as a parent, and they won't never see their real zenith. But you will always be able to see it in them here and there. There'll be 3-4 people that always tell them, man, you know, man, you always blah, blah, blah. But they won't never get to see it. So the people that actually are able to bring it out, you know what I mean? You got to live extra for that, man, because you could have been one of them people.
Facts.
Man.
Facts. What does E.S.T stand for?
Oh, man, that's something that I really can't even tell, man, because
you never said it?
It's one of those things, like a few people that know me know, but it's an ancient Chinese secret, because it's one of those things that
it's an acronym.
It's an acronym, but it's one of those things that I derive power from, because only I know, and a few other people know what it means.
So it's your mantra.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. And it's throughout all the music that I do. You know what I mean? Like, you know, what E.S.T stands for, you know what I mean? But, you know, it's just something that I hold dear. It's like a graffiti artist that might be famous in a certain part of town, or a world graffiti artist, but you never know what that name meant. But you just love it because of the way he writes and the way he infuses it in the culture.
I've never heard anybody not give up their.
Yeah, we're gonna get it though. We'll get it. But we got a couple people that'll tell us. We gotta
maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
A1s. Don't do it, man. Don't do it.
He gonna see this. He gonna see this after he tell us.
You know what I mean?
That's dope, though. I respect that.
No, man, it's like
I just go back to like just the origins of like how we came up. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's certain vibes. Like, it's like certain dudes that like won't let you touch their record still.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like a DJ, you know, or a dude like he got a personal art collection, a record collection or something. You like, man, you gotta, and he said, yo, don't touch my joints. And that's your man, but you know him since he first got his first DJ set. That's how he rolled. It's just some of the tenements, man. It's B-boy documents and tenements, man. And it's just one of those things I hold true to, because it still allowed me to connect with the first time I wrote that first rhyme, and I was able to sit back and be like, "Now this all right. This can't nobody tell me this ain't all right."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know, it's just, you know what I mean. One of those things, man. And it might come down as simple as something you do before you actually start start your podcast, or like, you know, doing your show. You know what I mean? It might have been one of your things that you did, and you standing behind the curtain, and they like, "Why you always do that, Q?" And you like, "Mind your business."
Yeah.
Or you don't say anything about it. You just smile and go and hit your desk, because you know that's part of what you do to keep you on your celestial. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yep. You know, so it's just one of those. One of those things.
Oh man, ES man. I want to go back. You know, I was young, man, and again, like I would say, you were like a generation ahead of me. So I was like a kid and like a super big fan of all of y'all, right? But we saw, growing up, like it was some tension, right? It was three times. So it was E.S.T. and then it was like Steady B, Cool C. What happened that made that
Mm.
what it was?
Well, what happens clearly, simply was Lawrence Goodman wanted to create a division between us, which was the North Philly faction of Hilltop Hustlers Records, and the West Philly faction, which was Cool C and Steady B,
Yeah,
because we had found out, like I said, that he was taking too much from us via him trying to play manager and record label owner, and it was just to our best interest to not be in that situation no more. Shout out to my big sis Malika Love, because
shout out to Malik.
we had let Malika know some of the things that we was going through, and she put us in contact with DJ Jazzy Jeff at the time, and Jeff and them had just wiggled free from that, and they put us in contact with their their lawyers and their legal team, who in turn allowed us to come with an argument and a legal stance that allowed us to get away from him at that time. It didn't come without certain clause still in us at that time, but we was able to move forward creatively and not have everything slowed down by whether he wanted to submit the tracks or not, whether he wanted to release the recording budget or not, or whether he wanted to, stop charging us egregious percentages or not off the money once we made it. And we had met at a little famous spot in West Philly at that time, which was the O'Hara Seafood House on 40th Street. I think it was 40th and Walnut. It might have been at that time. It was a legendary spot, and I still remember sitting down with Malika. Jeff came, and we started talking about it, and Jeff put us down with the right people to see and talk to, and eventually we got out of the contract. But when we did, of course, he couldn't have it be known that the reason we was leaving was because of the ill way he was dealing with us and subsequently the rest of the crew. So he had to create a smoke screen, for them to understand why we left, which was, we disloyal, they think they the best anyway because they record is popular right now and this and that. And I don't know whether it's Cool and Steady believed it out of jealousy, out of, just trust in LG, or maybe a combination of the two, and the fact that we were separating and they didn't know how to process it. So, he was around them more than us at that time, and he just kept pumping them and feeding that. But in the end of the day, what turned out to be true, because after he couldn't take advantage of Steady no more or Cool, then he did it to his sons and his nephews, which was the youngsters.
Damn.
Because the youngsters was made up of his sons and a nephew, and he did them incredulously too, and overcharged them, and took advantage of their recording budgets and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So he was a dude that could have really, really been the second coming of what Kenny Gamble was to the sound of Philadelphia on the hip hop side.
Right.
But because he wanted to be a miser and a fake imam and just a shyster overall, he brought that backwards hustling into the way that great young talent was supposed to flourish and become icons in the game. And I really truly believe the way he offset us at that time led to Steady being them doing what they did, and the reason why they in jail to this day. Bad representation and just downtrodden management, janky promotion, and unfortunately that has been an ongoing story in Philadelphia. You know what I mean? I could drop names all day of people that had people's careers in their hands that really could have took them and that artist to the zenith, but they didn't. And in many instances, that artist still went to the upper levels, but without that particular management. Like Eve is a great artist, who managed to get what she needed to get out of life and touch different things that she needed to touch, in the lieu of her not always having the best representation and people really trying to play with her paper on the management side of things.
Got it.
But she was able to get away from them. And anybody to do their research, you would be able to see who she was managed by at that time, where they was from in Philadelphia, and what they were supposed to be doing for her, but what wound up really happening. You know what I mean? You know, it's only a couple people that I could really speak on in a managerial sense that really went on to do anything significant for their artists and just for themselves as a manager. You know, Troy Carter is one of them. You know, not to say he never did nothing bad. Not to say what he did bad, because I'm not here to say that. But what I know about him is that he's a successful manager, and people that was under his tutelage have went to the upper level.
Yeah.
People like JL, that was running, JL Lassiter that rocked with Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince for many number of years.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he did right by them, at a certain point in their life and propelled them to a different level. You know, it's a few people past that, but we ain't gonna go into it too much.
I get it.
You know what I mean? But going forward, I do just want to say to all of the up and coming and the next levels of entertainment coming out the city, make sure that along with what you bring to the table, your choice of representation is built to take you the next 5, 10, 20 years of your relationship. Even if y'all only together for 2, 3 years, make sure that you know and you felt that y'all could have went 5, 10, 20 years together.
Nice.
And keep your management and representation to an account. Don't just let them think you somewhere getting your nails done, or you somewhere always buying a new coupe, or you somewhere smoking the best LA weed and you ain't worrying about your business. Because you're going to worry about it the minute you have something that mean more than you, whether it's a kid, your mother's health, a business that you can't stop thinking about, that now you got the wherewithal to bring to fruition. Make sure that what you make, you retain. You know what I mean?
That's deep. Let's fast forward though. Let's
fast forward.
Let's talk about what happened after 3 Times Dope, and what did you do? Q put me up on some things that you done that was incredible as a writer, and so kind of give our listeners or our viewers like what E.S.T did.
Well, after 3 Times Dope, I kind of continued doing what my interests were, which was just understanding music overall.
Mm-hmm.
I was always intrigued with songs in general, just like any great song. Of course, I was heavily influenced by R&B music, soul music, really, really good jazz, classic 80s pop and rock. And, I was always intrigued with the sentiments and formulas of just putting together timeless records and jams overall, aside from hip-hop. Like one of my favorite groups in the world my favorite group is Steely Dan.
Nope. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my goodness.
Shout out to Donald Fagen.
So
shout out to Walter Brecker, baby.
That's one of Fuzzy's great favorite groups.
One of the.
Listen, that mean Fuzzy, we got to catch a Steely Dan concert together one day, baby.
I
whether it's in L.A. or whether it's in Philly, because they be in Philly a lot. Or Vegas, you know what I'm saying? Going forward, you know what I mean? When the stars align, we just might have to do it.
Listen, man, that's y'all crazy. Know I got a Steely Dan plaque at my house.
Listen, and that's great.
Oh, okay, now we vibe.
Yeah, and that's great. See, and now now you see where it's at, and that's the great thing about true creatives. You can say one thing, and it'll take it to another echelon, because he know what he get out of Steely Dan, what he listen to Steely Dan for, what vibes it takes his mental to.
All day.
You know what I mean? It's like it's an aligner, man. You know what I mean? Sometimes you could just listen to the overall emotion you get from a group like that and just come back down and get on your whole vibe.
Definitely gets me correct.
You know what I mean? But you could have started listening to it mad as hell or sad as hell, and just from listening to a few records or your favorite record, it just gets you back on another level. You know what I mean?
That's all it is.
And
talking to Peter Guns. Peter Guns had a whole different stance with Steely Dan. Like, bro, it's still my favorite group, man.
And it's all good because you know why? Because they went forward and did that business without handling that business. And it was a Tribe Called Quest situation, like with Can I Kick It? When Tribe Called Quest did Can I Kick It, whoever was supposed to have been taking care of the business for them, let's just say that, didn't do it all the way. And Crosby, Stills, and Nash waited for them to blow up and took that whole pot. So the only thing they got was performance money and whatever else came from that. Really performance money, show money. They didn't get no writers. They probably got writers for their lyrics, but nothing else. No sync fees, no licensing, no nothing. And that was probably and I know that was the same thing that happened with Steely Dan, because like I said, Steely Dan is a classic group, and they got respect for themselves way before it was ever a Peter Guns and Lord Tariq. And respect to them because they made it a hit. But whoever sampled that record up should have made sure that sample got cleared, and they didn't, and so they handled their business and checked them the same way that Mr. Kenny Gamble did with something that Kanye West sampled one time. I don't know the exact song, but you know he asked Mr. Gamble like, man, you know why you charge me so much for that record though, man? And Gams looked at him like, man, that's my record. You wouldn't have been able to make nothing out of that had that I not made nothing out of that. So the fact you ain't wiped your feet before you came in, you had dirty shoes, so you had to. So as soon as you took them shoes off, I confiscated them shoes, washed them up, and now they mine.
That's business.
And that's business. So that's what you got to learn, man. If you want to talk that ish and you want to play how you play and you moving and grooving out these jets and these cars and you buying these chains and you Johnny danging it and all that, make sure your business is just sophisticated as them links and them diamonds and them emblems on them cars that you riding. Or you really just a little buddy.
He dropping some
gems.
He dropping some gems.
So E.S.T, because it's so many like,
I know layers.
There's so many layers. E.S.T. So all right. So like Fuzz said, like you were doing after E.S.T. You know, after 3 Times Dope, you kept writing. Like what was going on?
So now as I kept writing, I just realized this is something that I want to do too. At that time, I still had a super love for hip hop, but the ignorance was starting to creep in a little bit, and you know, people that I just felt like, damn, y'all blowing up. They blowing that up. And not really nobody, because however you get your money, you get it. But what I'm saying is the people that guard this game and the quality of it started doing things that I was no longer interested in as much as I was. So what seemed to be still integrity laden and, you know, was just music in general, you know, songs overall. So I started getting into that and started getting into songwriting, vocal production, and artist consultation.
That's real money.
You know what I mean? And
longevity.
You know, and yeah, longevity and dealing with people that actually got brains and it's not full of their ego, because they was just 5 minutes ago on the block and their main man was selling crack, and that's the only way they was able to get a pair of new shoes, and now they got money to go stay at the Four Seasons. But nobody told them any character. Nobody gave them $1 million character along with the $1 million check. So you got a lot of people out here that's dressed in Versace that are piss poor morally and that's really trash and low bottom people, but because they in fancy garb and get up, you know, they could pass, or they want you to respect them, or they feel like, no, well, this how we doing it, cuz. And that is how you doing it. But class is class, trash is trash, and ass is ass. And it'll always be like that. And the people that's really on them echelons that's of it while you still love it will never let you truly in because you don't represent the emblem. You just got some money. But money always can get wasted and burnt out. And it will get wasted and burnt out with people that's not acclimated to the right things in life and the right people in life.
Yeah.
So I mean, dude,
so really, I understood that I could become a songwriter and I could start grooving with that. I like that more. I like the different range of people and the different range of creative people that it was bringing me into, which was a lot of times still hip-hop cats and different people, because a lot of hip-hop cats use melodic hooks and, you know, hooks that have a longer range than the average rap hook, you know, because a lot of those dudes don't know how to make the average rap hook classic and successful, but there are some that do. And so, you know, I was meeting such a range of different people and just getting such a wealth of benefits of knowledge and conversations that I stayed on that level. And I said, you know what, I can revisit hip-hop from the OG spitter level or any type of level, grab an artist and do them anytime I want. But I wanted to evolve and burgeon as a musician and as a creative thinker more than just a person that was regulated by one era or one sliver that they cut off the, you know, the pizza of music.
Yeah. What you said when you went to Arsenio, you were like, all right, yo, no, we popping. On the songwriter side, what was that song that you may have contributed to or you wrote? You were like, yo, I know I could do it. I'm doing it.
Man, really, it was the first song that I did that I went to James Poyser and his cut man with at the time when I was down in Larry Gold's building, which is now Milk Boy Every Day, with my brother Kamal from the Roots. And I had wrote a song and I went and grabbed his cut man and I was like, yo, listen, man, I got this record, man. I just want you to tell me what you think. Because I knew that they were serious musicians and they was dealing with the folks at the time. And he heard it, and then he went, looked at me, and he went and got James and came back and played it and said, play that again. and I played it for him and James, and they gave me some cool character points and some confirmation that I was on the right track, and I took it from there, and also before that as well, I want to give a big shout out to Mr. Teddy Riley as well, because I had got a chance to go down to the Future recording facility when it was really that, right before he came out with the CB4 stuff, and I was able to sit with him and vibe with him and really soak it up. And I remember he told me, y'all are going to be the next wave of songwriters and people that really shake the game up. And this was right when Ja Rule had did that song with J-Lo. This was right around that same time. And I got to go down there and work with them. I actually worked on that record that they had did for the CB4 soundtrack, that I want you, baby, baby, won't you be mine? I forget the name of the record, but I wrote on that. I wrote like a 4 to 8 bar turnaround. That wasn't Guy. That was the other group that he had by that time.
Blackstreet?
Blackstreet was Blackstreet.
Yeah, and that's when he was just bringing
that was
them.
Blackstreet.
That's when he was first bringing them around, and a brother by the name of Magnum P.I. was down there too at the same time, along with his cousins and nephews from. His nephews from.
Did
Rex
you write the rap on that song?
Yeah, I wrote the little breakdown on that joint. The breakdown where it breaks down.
Yeah.
And I forget exactly because I ain't listened to that record in such a long time, but
I know the record very well.
I wrote like the 4 to 8 bar change on that joint. You know what I mean? And that's back when I ain't know nothing about really what I was supposed to be getting from every record that I was writing, but the experience was so crazy. And then, like I said, I met a dude named Magnum P.I. down there who the world went to later on know as Pharrell and the Neptunes. And
wait, Pharrell's name used to be Magnum P.I.?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And he used to, and I hope I ain't telling too much for Pharrell, because I ain't really saying nothing crazy, but like he was a real youngster at that time, him and his man. Like, I didn't really get to meet Chad at that time, but Pharrell used to always come through Future recording studios, and I remember, like sometimes he used to hooky school and get out of school early and say it was because he was coming to the studio, and sometimes
you was in Virginia
when he was, and he was, yeah.
So you around Rump Shaker and all that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just give us a list of some of the records you're a part of that as a songwriter.
Well, I mean,
break it down, because you're being humble. I want you to really be like, huh.
Well, I mean, like I was involved in the beginnings of what went on to be Make It Rain on Them. You know what I'm saying? Like, originally, before Wayne got on the hook wasn't structured all the way like that. But the Make It Rain on Them was in there. Something about the terror and all that. I was working on a certain vibe. And then later on, Wayne came in and Wayne revised it a little bit. You know what I mean? And went on ahead and did his thing.
Okay.
Also, it's a song called "Let This Go," and it's another joint called "Hey Y'all" on the Scorpion album that I wrote for Eve, along with a kid named Hot Runner at the time. Also did joints for Brooke Hogan, Hulk Hogan's daughter. We did joints with Seal.
Wait, Seal, the R&B singer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
International,
you know what I mean?
pop star.
Like of course, me, myself, and I, Baby Boy, Cater to You.
Wait, who? But who's the artist? You name these
I'm gonna tell it. For Miss Beyonce knows. I was lucky enough to sit down with her, me and my man, Mr. Scott Storch, and we did Baby Boy, Naughty Girl, Me, Myself, and I, and then I did Cater to You, which was the finale single off the finale LP for Destiny's Child, which was entitled Destiny's Fulfilled. That was the name of the album. And the single that we did was called, the single that I did with Rodney Jerkins was called Cater to You.
I know the songs, yeah.
And, I also did a joint called what was that joint? I'm Good for LaToya Luckett, off of her LP. Just a lot of joints. All the Ifs for Mr. Trey Songs. And it's another joint called Ooh that I wrote the hook on his first LP. As well as it's a joint called Call the Cops for Mr. Mario on the Turning Point album. You know.
So your pen game started excelling. Like they just know to call you for certain things.
Yeah. Start developing. Like right now, I'm working on something with my nephew, C.J. Hilton, who's just a what you would call a musical prodigy.
Wait, is CJ working with Salam?
Yeah, CJ's working with.
Oh, come on.
CJ working with the great Salam Remy. You know,
that's Salam been telling me about him.
Yeah,
he's been playing me music.
Yeah, that's one of his mentors along with myself. You know, Salam. Like,
I love Salam. Me and Salam can get on the phone and jaw jack about whatever.
Right. You know, and you know, Salam is at a point in his life where he's still doing what he's doing super crazy, but he do it at a certain
his level.
You know what I mean? You
yes.
know, you know, he's allowing C to do his thing at a level, and you know, do his thing with who he do his thing
man.
with. You know what I mean?
He been hitting me about that.
Right. So we got some things right now to do for Osley Brothers, for the Osley Brothers, the great Osley Brothers.
I'm just looking through your credits.
I'm actually doing a joint. We're working on something after we leave here tonight. With my man Mitty, you know, my engineer and media guy, you know, great guy from the city.
Yeah.
That y'all will definitely be hearing more about too, because he does artistic stuff as well. And he's a great photographer, burgeoning what we call an eye or a lens.
Yeah.
You know, so he's doing that too. And then I got a Meek Mill idea that I got to do. My man Buzzy Bagham, which is part of Rodney Jerkins' internal crew.
So you cool with Rodney Jerkins, Scott Storch? Did you get your Scott Storch relationship from Philly?
Yeah, I definitely got my well, I knew Scott since he was in a group called Mad Crop, with my man Cameron Houff, who co-wrote and/or wrote the majority of "You Should Let Me Love You" for the great Mr. Neo. They were in a group together, and they were down with Rough House and Rough Nation. Yes. And so I went to the studio.
I work with Neo, so that's my guy, Schaefer.
Yeah, listen, you already know.
Yeah, so I know he was in the group.
Listen, young Shafe. I remember when Shafe told me, and don't be mad at us, Neo, because we dropped in you know what I mean? But I remember when Shafe told me, and this was early in his career, you know, where he had a little stigma because he felt like in the beginning, like he sounded a little bit too much like Usher. Or things like that. And I looked at him one day and I said, man, by the time you get to where you going to get, Usher's going to be comfortably where he's at, embedded like a rock in the world of what we do, and you going to be doing what you do, bro. I said, you don't sound like Usher. Don't compare yourself to Usher. Yeah, y'all got them rich, harmonic runs and riffs, but by the time you really get into yourself, man,
that's good advice.
You're not going to be nowhere on Usher Street. And he wasn't.
Yeah.
And he wasn't. And he went on to tear the world down in R&B and all over the world with what he did with Mr. Pitbull, and he turns into an executive. So, Neo.
That's my guy.
Looking back on it now.
What you got to say?
You know what I was saying to you, bro, and you know that I seen who you was then.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So, you know, him and Tango was rolling together every day.
See, when you talking, that's my family. Like,
you know,
I can hang out with
Tango with the cigarette in his mouth, just looking at everybody like, look, I better take care of my man. I'm here for that.
Yo, that's family there, man.
Listen, man. I remember one time we was actually during the time when the Cater to You thing got wrote.
Yeah.
And I was coming in the Sony studios, and Neo and Tango was coming in. But for whatever reason, the receptionist ain't really understood who they was or what they was coming to do.
Don't hold them up.
And I was coming out, and I was just like, yo, nah, they official. I was like, nah, matter of fact, I don't know if I said they with me or that they definitely got official business. But at that point, like, it was no more checking who they was. And they came in, we talked for a little second, saluted each other, and they went on ahead, they did their business. But I had just been in a camp with him every day on LaGorge Drive in Florida for months. You know what I mean? And I didn't come that day when the You Should Let Me Love You record was wrote, but I knew him, and that was my man. So to see him moving and grooving now in his own solidarity and coming to hit the charts up, and he got his point man with him, I'm like, nah, that's my man. Let him through. He official.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And you know, it ain't
that's
like
crazy.
I did nothing for him, but I just knew who he was. You know what I mean? At that time, like I know who he is now.
Yeah, that's crazy. So, I mean, you're still writing. You're still doing your thing. We were talking yesterday about, you know, like how are you still writing raps, like for you As because you're still like you're
just
to the
recently. I started rocking with it again, just because I'm at the point where I just want to do a certain kind of hip hop, and I wanna put my energies out, again therapeutically at first, just through my first form of communication that I learned sonically, which was hip hop.
Yeah.
You know, and I got a great dude collaborator that I rock with here named Steve McKee. To me, he's the best drummer in the city now that we don't have Questlove in the city 24/7. You know, Questlove is still the top drummer from town, but he's in New York tearing it down and doing things around the world, you know. But my guy that like represents what the core of the city is now to this date, my man Steve McKee is top of the pops. He's also a prolific producer and engineer, and me and him been fermenting and working on some things that may culminate into a project called The Wolf. That I'm working on, that's going to be accompanied with actual commentary based on the characteristics of the wolf and how they move in every instance and situation. You know what I mean? So it's going to be a character piece, and then also me and Chuck Nice are this close to starting what'll be Original Styling 2.0, which is us re-recording the whole album, and putting a couple features and maybe 2 or 3 bonus cuts to it. And we're going to do some things through NFT. With the whole project.
Smart.
So sitting down, talking to certain people, and getting pointers from certain people. You know what I mean? My attorney, Mr. Bernie Resnick, and certain other people in the game. My man Tom LaRock, and different people in the game that I want to sit down with and really get a full conciseness of how we stepping into that, because it's a new realm, it's a new era, it's a new form of cryptocurrency and futuristic money making. But I think it's just up the alley for doing this project and wetting our feet with that. So it's a couple things along with the songwriting that we are working on.
Yeah.
You know,
our computer's about to die. I don't want to cut this thing short, but
snap,
the battery's low.
I did see that. All right, look, man.
Nah, but listen, we can always part 2 this. This could be the 1.0.
For sure.
And
we're gonna pick it up.
Yeah, because we got a lot to share with y'all. You know what I mean?
Yo.
You know, my new West Coast man over here, Fuzzy Does.
Yo, we clicked on the frames earlier. Like, oh, you got Goliaths on.
He knew about the Goliaths. You know what I mean? Shout out to my man Eton down at I Chic down there on South Street. You already know what it is, my guy.
All right, I gotta go down there.
FAQ podcast, E.S.T, my brother, man.
Listen,
it's been an honor, bro.
Been a pleasure,
and listen, I want to say this. Anytime you come on the cast, you're supposed to act like this the best cast you ever been on, and it's such an honor, and blah, blah, blah. But one thing I want to let y'all know about Q came from nothing to something in the game. You know what I mean? He's a real corporate monster right now, with young corporate getter. And my man Fuzz is official on so many levels, because I got a 15-minute convo from Ones before he even called back. And when Ones go through lymphs and monolymphs like that about a person, you know, they affected him first before they could affect me. So this is really something that y'all should keep tuning into, because if y'all find me interesting, y'all are going to keep finding the labyrinth of people that they bring to y'all, and the plethora of people that they bring to y'all super interesting, informative. You know what I mean? This is a podcast to learn from.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Listen to, burn to, kick out to, and just overall elevate. This for the culture, and I really appreciate you having me on this joint, Q.
I appreciate you.
It's official like a whistle. You hear me?
Official like a referee with us.
You know what I mean? So from LA to Cali, California, and back again. Y'all know what it is, people.
Thank you.
FAQ podcast, frequently asked questions with Fuzzy and Quincy, E.S.T, the legend. We appreciate y'all. We'll see y'all next time, right here.